So, the continuous improvement program is, I suppose, a partnership that we've developed between ourselves and our client to really kickstart a focus on improving continuous operations around site. So, really driven to focus on energy reduction and making the assets that are already on site work in the most efficient way possible so that they get maximum performance and start to embed a culture of continuous improvement in the site's teams. So we started the continuous improvement program on the back of some work with this client around net zero targets. I think one of the areas that we picked up on as a really key part of the net zero journey and sustainability is around the continuous improvement, so that when we're focusing on net zero, we're not just talking about some of the big new technology projects, but we're also making sure that the base load that we have on site is as efficient as it possibly can be, and that our loads are as low as they can be when we come to introduce some of these new net zero technologies. So that was the main driver that it was developed, but we also, in tangent to this, we're looking at trying to improve the operations and reliability of the existing assets, which comes hand in hand to them working efficiently. So a big part of this continuous improvement program was working on, I suppose, slightly older and aging assets across the site, where sometimes through years that maintenance perhaps isn't the biggest focus, that we're looking at trying to refocus some of the energy intensive maintenance to get these assets working in the best possible way. From that continuation perspective, this isn't just a sort of single project or single initiative that we're looking, but it's really to embed this culture and the way of thinking into the client's organization through the long run. So this is really a program, not just an individual project. That we are kind of kickstarting through this piece of work at the moment, but we see this as I guess, a long-term piece of work that um, allows for some of these improvements to be cycled through year on year and get the client's organization to the best operational point that they can be with their existing assets. So I think Projective is really well placed to lead this initiative, really because of the expertise that we have in the particular industries that we're working in pharmaceuticals. There's a lot of unique challenges that come with working in GXP environments that we have good knowledge and history of, so that we really understand the drivers and the main priorities for the organizations on site. So the improvements and suggestions that we're making can be really well thought out so that they're both practical and deliverable for the teams on site and don't introduce unnecessary risks. The other reason I think Projective is really well suited is because of the best practice and the real knowledge and that we have of these core utilities. So we're able to introduce some really good best practices to the sites and come up with some fresh ideas that perhaps they just haven't considered or thought about before. I think what makes the approach that we've taken with Projective unique is the real focus on the relationship development and really embedding ourselves and making ourselves an extension of the site's teams. I think it's really helped us to build a good level of trust with the site teams, and we're able to work in a much more agile team by being part of that team and not just being sort of an external consultant that comes on and then disappears and leaves the site to deal with the whirlwind that we leave behind. So we're really looking to embed ourselves and become an extension of the client's team. So the key focus on the program is going to be giving some sort of quick wins and short-term energy saving opportunities. So for this particular client, that was very heavily focused around some carbon reductions and making sure that the particular sites involved in this program could see some reduction in carbon emissions from this year, and that will continue as the benefit of some of these outcomes are seen year on year. The range of the opportunities that we identified on site were focused around some BMS fine tuning and set point operation changes. Many of these have already been partially delivered across the sites, which are giving them some very quick returns on seeing some of the carbon reductions that are coming out of these pieces of work. And I've already started to see a sort of culture change in the team as well, that we're having a lot more ideas and suggestions being brought forward by their own teams, which is really fantastic to see that the kind of knowledge and spirit of the program is working across the whole team. So it's really key that when we talk about some of these programs that we do have a way of embedding and being able to follow up, that the opportunities that we've worked upon are actually delivering some benefits and savings for the site. So particularly for this one, we have also spent a lot of time with the energy team looking at what KPIs and metrics that we can use to track the energy performance on a more routine and regular basis. So at the moment, the site we're looking at sort of monthly energy consumption. During this sort of initial kickstart of the program, we've been transitioning to try and look at sort of some daily and weekly KPIs so that we can hopefully see the benefit in a real-time perspective of some of the reductions that we're seeing, and we can match up when a set point change or when a particular initiative is implemented, that we can hopefully track and see the impact in very real time to see how that's impacting the site's energy performance. So a large part of this program hasn't just been about delivering specific deliverables. It's really been about imparting and sharing the knowledge that we have and training the teams that are on site at the moment. So that the idea is that the team that we leave on site have some of this embedded knowledge and ways of working in the long run, and also leaving the site with specific tools, so tracking tools, calculation tools, and templates, so that they can also continue implementing and tracking this program in the many years to come.